welcome back to Saber Outdoors. I, of course, am your wonderful host, Mark Alexander, and today, what can I make out of this junk? Today, we're gonna be making something that other YouTubers say they can make, but in fact, I can make without melting my pipe, without any real tomfoolery, without it really being all that hard. And you can do this at home as well. What we are making is a PVC pipe bow. Now, guys, these bows are reasonably popular. There are plenty of other YouTubers that have done this, but I've never seen one do this exactly the way that I'm about to do it today. So keep watching, see what I do, see how I do it. Now, I am missing one tool that I need for this project. I'll probably have to end up going to find it somewhere else, or I may have to buy me a new one, and that is a speed square. But I'll explain why I need that later. But for right now, let's just get into it. So what do we got before us? We have a pair of scissors, we have electrical tape. You can use any kind of tape. Electrical tape's the kind that I like because it comes in various colors, and it's a very smooth feeling tape when you use it for the process I'm about to use it for. I've got paracord. Not really anything special about this paracord, it's just paracord. I've got a couple of fence posts. These are electric fence posts, and they are made out of fiberglass. I've got a rag. Just a rag. It's not even a clean rag. Look at this thing. It is dirty. It's stained with oil and God knows what. But it'll be just fine for our purposes today. I've got a couple of 3/4 inch screw on pieces where you can put this on the end of a pipe, and then you can take your cap, this 3/4 inch cap, and you can just screw that on. And you'll see why that is later on in the video. I've got 2 of these a piece. So what we are going to do now, this pipe by itself, it has flex. Like you can see there is some flex in it as it is. So if this is going to be for a child, you can stop right here as far as doing it. All you'd have to do, put your end on, make your string out of your paracord, and you can start right there. But this is not being made for a child. This is being made for me and you. So what we're going to do, we have two pieces of brain. Come on, start working. It's early in the morning, but you got this. Fence post, there we are. But you can see my fence post is not as long as this. That's why we have 2. Now, what we do, these are pointed on one end. So what we're going to do, we're going to put these opposing each other, and this will give the center of our bow more flex than the outer edges. And what you do, you lay it down, and you just measure it against your pipe. And measure it just the smallest amount long, like 1/4 inch on each side, and you'll see why later. But get that kind of measured up against your pipe, and then you're going to take your tape. Now, this is not special electric tape. There's nothing, it's not like, oh gosh, this is the most specialist thing ever. This is just electrical tape, and I picked blue. I was like, blue and white seem like a nice color combination. I've got another one of these built inside that is black and white. But you take your pieces, make sure that they haven't moved any, and you take those up and you take them together. Now just put a few wraps on it at first, pull that off. You don't have to cut this stuff because it's electrical tape. measure it to be sure that it's where it needs to be, and now put it at either end and in the middle, and then I'm going to show you what to do that makes this work. So we're going to tape this end here, just 2 or 3 times. Take this end here, just 2 or 3 times. And what we're going to do, we're going to shove this inside and see how it fits. Now, I don't expect it to be right the first time. So that goes in far too easily. So what we're going to do, we're going to add more, not to these outer edges, but to the middle. Because I want the outer edges to have flex, so that when I'm bending the bow, they aren't stuck against the side. But the middle, I don't care if it's moving, because the middle of the bow isn't going to move at all as it's flexing, or it shouldn't move. But we're going to take our little thing and we're just going to roll it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half rounds, maybe one more. And you know, we've got scissors out here, or actually these are shears. Shear. And we're going to try it again. Stick that off. Stick that there. Now see, now we have a reasonably tight connection. So we're just going to shove this down in here. We don't need it to be like hammer it down in tight, but we're just going to shove it down in there. And you can see where we, oops, got a little bit of dirt in the end of it. That won't hurt it none. But you can see we've got just a little extra sticking out of each end. And that's okay. Now, what are we going to do with this? Now, if I am to put this cap on, so just stick it on like that. Sounds like someone just shot a gun. But if I'm to stick a cap on, you can see my piece sticks through the cap and has fell down this side. So what we're going to do with our rag, we're going to take and cut us a little bit of rag off and roll that up for the end. So just take your piece, you don't have to measure, just kind of free hand it. I'm cutting mine around about 1 inch or a little bit more. And the nice thing is right now, I don't have a top or a bottom, so I can pick that right now. But just take your end and roll it. Check this end, because it needs to fit in this and in the end of this. And the reason that it's okay it sticks a little bit out is because it's going to stick a little bit into this material. So let me just unroll it a little bit more. Just a smidge more, and we're going to cut that off. Okay, got her cut off. Going to stick it in our pipe. Going to stick our end. You can see it's in the end of our pipe. Stick our end on. Seat it. Now, unless you really work at it, that's probably not coming back off. But you can see now the end of my piece isn't in a place that it can't be. Now, if you want these off, if you want to take them off, all you got to do is just take your hand. I'm going to have to use my rag. Haha. I may have to get a wrench for this, because you know there's no glue on these, but that doesn't mean they're not on good. Actually, let me just take my scissors, because everything's a hammer when you need it. There we go. And notice we didn't have to, you know, whack it like crazy. But look, even seated with that piece of rag at the end, it's still sticking out. Almost perfect. It might want a little bit more down, which if we need that, we just take our little scissors and we hit it down just ever so slightly. And that way it's seated down low, and it's going to be the same up top, because I'm going to take my rag and do the same thing up here as I did down low. I'm just going to roll my rag until it's round about the same roundness as this hole. And the nice part is my piece is in the way a little bit, so all I have to do is just pull it out. And that didn't hurt a thing, didn't change how this bow's gonna work whenever the time comes. Get it rolled around reasonably right. Cut it off. And now I know this is as much as I need. I can set that little scrap to one side, and I'm ready to put my bow piece down into here, probably for the life of this bow. Throw it down there a little bit so it'll seat. But I know this is the amount of this that I need. It's kind of not as tight as I'd like, so let me re-roll it right quick. Alright, we got both ends relatively seated. Now, you might say, well, you can just string your string right there and it's ready to go, right? False. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. So, we've got our pieces. You can see our rag at either end. We're done with our rag. We need this. So, I'm not going to measure how long the string should be. I'm just going to feel it out. Now, what I know for sure that I need, at this end, I need a loop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take me a short length of it, and I'm going to fold that in on itself, and then the loop that I make when I fold it in on itself, I'm going to bring it around. I'm going to put that loop through that hole, and I'm going to bring it around through. Now, before I start putting any real pressure on this, you know, let me get it seated down. But before I put this on the bow and start putting pressure on it, I need to make sure that it fits the ends. So let's take our end. Yes, that goes over the end. Okay. So I don't have to worry about that. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to stretch my string out. I know I at least need it a few inches shorter than the actual thing. So I'm going to stretch that out. I know it needs to be at least shorter than that. And I'm going to give myself a little extra room, but not much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this off. And I don't have a lighter outside to burn this, so uno momento. Okay, got me a lighter. Now, if you haven't watched people with paracord before, they always take their lighter and burn the end. And I always strip this out to the very end. So most of the time that casing on the outside of those 7 strands will come ahead of the 7 strands, and I can get me a good seal on the end of it. See? Really good seal on that. So that's how much I need for my bowstring, for sure, at least. And I'll seal the other end so that it doesn't fray everywhere. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm just going to tie a loop at the end of this, just like I tied at the other end, and see what I got. Now again, before we put any pressure on this, is this long enough? Or is this a big enough loop? All we have to do is just check. Does it fit over the end of our thing? And it does. Now, I've got that on, and that seems reasonably close. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my right foot in front of this. I'm going to put that in front, and then I'm going, no, I've done this backwards. I'm going to put my left foot in front, and that way the back of the bow is resting against round about my ankle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bend that over and put that string on. Now, be careful. First time you do this, be careful, careful, careful. Now, our string is not quite right, but there it is. Your bow is roundabout made. Now, you say, well, the bow's made, why do we need caps? Well, let me show you. We take the cap, we put on the end of the bow. So now this string can't come off. There's no way for it to come off, not while it's under tension. It has to jump a gap in order to get off now. Now, you can see our bow's made. Now you may say, well, you didn't glue the ends. I've never had the ends come off on me. Now, this string probably could be a mite longer and it would be okay, but let me go get me an arrow and show you what it looks like with arrow in it. All right, we've got our arrow here, and let me tell you, that feels really good. Now, there is one thing that I need that I don't have. So to find out where your arrow needs to go, first thing you need to do is find out where the middle of your pipe is. So let's unstring our bow a minute and find out where that is. So we just stick our leg through, let that other rest against your ankle, top of your foot, take it off. Now we need to find out where the middle of this bow is. So what we're going to do, we're not going to go get a measuring device. We've got one here. We're going to take our piece here of string, and we're going to measure with it. So all you have to do, measure the end all the way to the end of the pipe with your string, paracord, whatever you want to call it. Measure to the end of the pipe, to the end of the pipe. Now you've got a hand on both sides. See, I've got a hand on this one. I've got a hand on this one. All you have to do is bring that together. So now I'm holding both ends with one hand into your pipe, directly to the middle. So right there is my middle. I'm going to take me a little piece of tape, and mark that as my middle. So above this tape is the middle of this. And I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to use it to kind of mark where my hand goes. And I'm just going to twist it in my hand. This doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm trying to make it look at least a little nice. All right, so now we know there about where our hand should be, right there. And of course we have our string right here, so like I say, our string could be a little longer, but what we're going to use, I'm going to make me a shelf for the arrow to set on. So, all right, guys, we just have half of a coat hanger, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut me off some of it. I'm going to get right there. These are not the best pliers, but they say snap-on, so they're really valuable. So guys, just length of wire, probably 4 or 5 inches long. I'm going to take the end of my wire, get me a reasonable amount for a shelf, bend that out. I'm going to take the end of this wire, and I've got my shelf right there. I'm going to bend this actually forward. So you can see shelf out and the opposite way forward. And what I'm doing, I'm going to take this and wrap it like this. That way, if I just put this in, my shelf is going to want to fall forward, move around. I don't want that. So I'm going to take and bend this wire around this pipe. And I'm going to use my pliers to kind of help me with that. Actually, I think I'm just going to cut it off right there and call it a day. Alright, shoulder made. We're going to take our handy dandy tape and we're going to tape that on. See, right now, before I get that tape, this wants to move. So that's why we are taping. Now, if I had a little bit better set of pliers, I could bend that around the edge of this and it would fit a little better. But this will be okay for the time being. Now, I'm going to put another wrap the opposite direction, because I do not want to get poked by my arrow rest. And snip. So now got to scooch our thing around, because now we have a place for this to be. So I want this to line up reasonably well. Now, on past one of these that I've made, I took me a piece of permanent marker and marked where that line was. For today's purposes, I'm not going to do that. But we're going to step through with our left foot, rest that other against our right ankle and our foot, and we're going to bend that over. And then we're going to let up and see that it's kind of halfway straight. Put our cap back on so that our string doesn't come back off. And guys, if you want to, you're ready to shoot. You can see our arrow rest is working just fine. You pull this back, and if I wanted to, that would be an ended camera. Now guys, we are going to shoot this. So we're done with building. This is the bow. Alright guys, today is the day. It's kind of cloudy, kind of gloomy, but today we are going to shoot the bow that we made. Now I've got my forearm protector, got my shooting release, because I don't feel like doing this with my fingers. But something I don't have right now, I don't have a consistent place on my string to string my bow. So how am I going to do that? So if it's a little low, you can see that's not square. If it's a little high, that's not square. It's going to make it shoot funny. Now I can get it reasonably close, but if we take a speed square like you would use for woodworking, we put that on the string and we can straighten this dude right out, just like that right there. And for pole folk, we can get this pretty dang close. That's pretty dang close. Now how are we gonna mark that? You know, it's there for this arrow, but are we gonna do that for every arrow? False. Duct tape. Duct tape fixes everything. Just a second, I'll show you how it's gonna fix this. So we're gonna take our duct tape and we're gonna get our piece. We're gonna tear our piece off. And we're going to take our piece and rip it in half. Now the prettier of your two halves, we take, and you can do just above, just below, or both. I'm gonna do just above for this particular setup, and we're just gonna wrap that around. And I know just below that is where my squareness is. Now guys, I'm gonna put you on tripod. We're gonna go over here, we're gonna shoot. All right guys, we've got our bow. Our arrows are sitting just out of frame on the ground, along with a spare bow that's made slightly less nice as this one. We're gonna try it out in a few minutes. But first things first, I'm about 10 yards away from my target. I am going to shoot 3 into my target. Then I'm going to show you that then I'm going to shoot 3 with you looking at the target to see kind of what it looks like on both ends, both me shooting and it impacting. But we've got our bow set up, got our stuff on. Let's step back, get right. Good deal. Completely missed. Okay, good deal. So let's go look at it right quick. I'm not winning no archery contest, but at least I hit the target 2 out of 3 times. Now my third arrow might be interesting to find because it's out here in this cheesy stuff, and stuff's hard to find in this grass right here. But we're gonna try for a little bit to find our arrow. If we find our arrow, yay us. If we don't find our arrow, you will simply see me shooting again. I'm getting a little bit better. At least one of them hit the black dot. All right guys, so that's proof of concept. Yes, this shoots. Yes, it will stick into a cardboard target. And by the way, that cardboard target's homemade, and in a few videos time, I probably will show you how to make that. But let's try our other bow that's a little bit more basic. So let's shoot back over here. Now, when I say more basic, that means there's no particular place to hold it. There's no particular place to knock it. There's no wire to use to put to use as a rest. I'm about to run out of breath, and I just hit the tripod too. Man, I'm just not in a good way. So for this, I'm gonna go all natural and pull it with my fingers. I don't know where's the proper place to knock this. I don't know where's the proper place to hold it. I'm just kind of feeling it and hoping for the best. So we're just gonna knock it, and we're gonna shoot it right off of our hand. I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit afraid, but we're gonna try our luck shooting at our target, And if this hurts the first time, you may only see one shot of this. Now I am gonna wear my forearm protector because I don't want my forearm to be burnt up by this string. It hasn't been hit yet, but the first time it does, oh man, does it hurt. But let's give her a shot and see what we do. Okay, that wasn't so bad. It did hit my hand a little bit, and that did sting a mite. But hey, when bows were made, sting a mite was not a big deal compared to eating a lot. So let's shoot her again. Oh, that one stung good too. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I didn't have it pulled up enough and it stung me just the smallest amount, and I missed the target. So that might be another lost arrow. Guys, let's go see if we can find that arrow and see how I did in the way of shooting. Okay, so I already see the arrow, so we're good on that front. So, you know, I hit the target, yay me, but guys, oh, let's fuller arrow out here. Guys, this is definitely not the setup I would want for my everyday setup, because I can feel already, and I see a little red spot on my hand where the fletching hits it. But guys, if it was have the fletching hit my hand or not eat that week, I'd just put up with a little bit of irritation on my hand, because I'm a fat boy and I want some food. But let me pull these out, and then we're going to shoot our bow a little bit more and see if we can get any kind of grouping. If we don't get a reasonable grouping out of this, I'm going to call it a day, because I got other things that I need to be doing, like making videos for you. All right, finally got a reasonable grouping. Let's go look at it and see what I've done. All right, guys. Now, I don't know about you, but that grouping right there, that would do as far as like killing some meat. Now, this bow, the bow that we built in this video, I think is around about 28 pounds worth of pull. Now, I know I can hunt deer with that and it would kill deer, but I don't think that I would do that. I would much rather at least 40 pounds to kill deer with. But guys, this would be fun to shoot in the backyard. This would be fun at parties. You can just set up your little shooting station with a couple of these bows and just shoot against each other for score, for target. You can do anything with these. But guys, that's all there is to this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification. I'm gonna say it twice because it's so important. Subscribe. It is super important and it means so much to me, and it costs nothing for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you somewhere out in the woods or on the water.